Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Whitney, and this is a really special episode. So I'm doing a different kind of intro for this podcast where I talk with a client who went through my program and had a massive transformation. She talks about overcoming her eating disorder prior to working with me. And then we did my program that gets you ready for love. So before you're ready to date and find your person, sometimes there's some big inner work and healing that needs to be done. Sometimes I work with people and I'm just helping them with the practical steps of dating, but oftentimes we need a combination of both. So in this episode, CJ tells her story of transformation where we went through a 3-month program in a group setting called Ready for Love, or I think I called it Dating Done Right at the time, but the names might change. But you'll see everything on my website, whitneykobrin.com. If you're struggling in your love life, if you've had unhealthy relationships, if you have childhood trauma that's affecting your emotional state and your relationships, there is hope. And with help, you can overcome it. And I love this video so much because you can just see in her energy how bright and open she is. So tune in. I hope you enjoy this episode. Do me a favor and like the video if you enjoy it, if you find it helpful. Subscribe to my channel. I just started this brand new channel after scrapping my old one, so would like to get some more people involved. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome back to the Love Coach in My Pocket podcast. I'm so glad you're here. And today I have a dear friend of mine, Carrie Joy, CJ, who recently did one of my programs. And we were talking recently about how she's known me since I started this and knows what I do and that I'm a coach, but wasn't ready, didn't do it, had this resistance. So we're going to talk a bit today about her journey and how it's worked out and where you are now. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, yeah, absolutely. It wasn't so much a resistance. I didn't want to pull away the curtain of something. Okay. All right. So I have had a really long journey, and the first bubble of my journey was like big, like get help. Which I guess if I'm going to be here, I should just eating disorder up here and other things and other piles of things in my life that I didn't even know existed. So it's starting from like the most obvious, and then it funneled down into like I needed less and less and less amounts of help because I was doing life right. I mean, I was eating right, working, like everything feels so good that like what else do I need help? But for the first time, I'm ready for it. You know, like I'm ready for it. I want it. And
it's kind of like you have to bake the cake first to be able to put icing on the cake.
Yeah. So I was half baked with you. You know, if we're using the cake analogy, which in itself is really important just to know that you don't have all the answers and you're always going to try to be learning. Yeah, 2 years ago, I was a very, very different person with tons of issues, tons of problems, had very bad relationships with people, had a real hard time with my schedule, unhappy, living an unhealthy lifestyle. And I gotten help for everything, and I'm just becoming like a better and better person. And so taking Whitney's course, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that this was stuff I needed to know. Like this should have been mandatory in high school. I skipped this huge step of life of just thinking love. I just assumed that it wasn't something I had to learn.
Right?
It's the weirdest thing that I just went about like, I guess the way I'll learn is meeting a lot of guys. You know, we grew up before the internet really exploded. Everything was in person. No, there was no chat room. I remember when they started. We and Whitney are the same age. We go back.
I just want to witness you and acknowledge you that, yeah, definitely. The person you were 2 years ago was a little bit hard to be around. And I felt your heart, and I knew that your heart was in the right place and that you were a good person, but your behavior and how you would talk to people, like, I could tell something was wrong. And there was always this big secret that was preventing you from being authentic and from being soft and open.
Yeah. There's a lot that went into my very secretive behaviors, and so you don't really have very close relationships. When you're living so many lives, you have to keep a lot of things straight.
And do you mind telling the audience what you were dealing with?
When I was 16, I developed eating disorder, bulimia, and I don't really talk about it that often. I'm not opposed to talking about it. It was my first time to getting any kind of help with anything, and I just basically said to my family, like, I give up. I surrender.
What you're saying is, first you had this breakthrough of, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
And you went to an inpatient that treated the eating disorder, because that was at the root of all the other problems.
Absolutely.
So I knew you then, and it was so beautiful to see you have this awakening and realize that you need something more in your life, because what you had just wasn't the life that you knew you could live.
I didn't even know the problems that I had. My biggest thing in my journey is I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I'm learning myself all over again.
Isn't it beautiful how
beautiful
in our
thing.
30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s, I mean, I know people that are in their 70s and 80s who are still on the journey and still learning and still growing. And I think it's when we have that feeling of, I just know everything and this is all there is to life, where we just start to shrivel up and wither away.
When I think about taking your course, it was a time in my life that I was just completely open, no secrets, no nothing, and just goodness pouring out of me. And I'll be whoever I'm supposed to be, you know? Like, this is all good stuff. Like, there's really nothing about me that I was finding out that, you know, hurting people or like, you know, everything I'm doing, I'm okay. Like, I have a good foundation, but I'm screwing things up by not knowing things. So your course for me was unbelievably eye-opening in the things that I didn't know and that I didn't know I didn't know. For example, just at the very beginning of these classes we were taking, it wasn't really about the man, it was about myself. It was about how I treat myself. We did a quiz that said, like, how would you treat...
So this is the self-compassion quiz. I'll put the link in the show notes in the description that you can take to see how compassionate are you to other people and how compassionate are you to yourself. Because most people that take this quiz realize that they have plenty of compassion within themselves for other people, and yet we're so hard on ourselves.
And then going even a little bit further with that, it's how would you treat a 6-year-old? The 6-year-old version of you. You just start to treat yourself a lot better with a real compassion. The things that I would even just verbally say, like, oh my God, you're so stupid. Things like that. I'm aware of it. I let it go. Like, I let go of that.
So how would you compare your self-love before doing this program and after?
I think that I was someone that just didn't really take that seriously. Didn't know that I was even doing it. And that's the thing about it that is so eye-opening. I had no idea how mean I was being to myself. And it definitely has a lot to do with how your relationships are going to be. And just from the very beginning, just cutting myself slack and loving myself even when I broke something, I lost something, or I do those two a lot. Those are the first ones that came out of my mouth, you know, breaking things and losing things.
I mean, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
We all fuck up sometimes. And when you think about relationships with other people, the make or break moments are when you have conflict, when someone messes up, when you're upset. You could have a guy that loves you like crazy and is great all the time, and then one time he gets mad and hits you and it's just over. So, but yet we sit there and take the abuse from ourselves and don't even realize it. I am so happy to hear that and to see you. And I just want to give you a hug right now.
Aww. I love this girl. I do. One of the most amazing people I've ever known in my life. Just oozing with compassion for everybody and calm and slow and has thought about how deep life is, like, and that there's so many levels of things.
Like, I'll take
that's
it.
like that's it. That's like the stripping away everything, because you kind of are stripping away things when you're dealing with how you treat yourself on a day-to-day basis. You're with yourself 24/7. Period. Like that's even, people use like that term, like I do this 24/7. You are yourself 24/7. That is the only time that is completely applicable. Totally. And so how you treat yourself, and also not just how you treat yourself in speaking to yourself, but things you can really do to make yourself just feel better. So if you have a lot of anxiety, breathing exercises, especially Whitney's main thing that I love to do is stepping into your feminine energy, which I had never done that or even heard these words before. I mean, I'd heard them, but I did not know how important it is. Take a break from your masculine energy, because you're carrying the whole world on your shoulders, and just falling into your femininity. Just when I say that, I feel like I'm losing some kind of thing. So, like, how important is that for just in terms of, like, finding the love of your life? How important is it to really
partners come together due to the polarity and the magnetism. And we have forgotten this in the modern age. We think that we just have to be kind and fair and that we're friends. And then we end up with partners that feel like roommates later on. And we're just squabbling and bickering and like, oh, I don't want to see them, I just need a break. And it's really important to recognize the polarity, to recognize that there is a difference between masculine energy and feminine energy. And when you come together with your partner, to recognize those differences and not try to erase them and become the same, which I think is what most people do and what I used to try to do, but instead to embrace the differences and enjoy them and magnify them even. So one of the things that you told me that you got out of the program that I love is you're able to look back at your previous relationships and see them so much more clearly. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, totally. I'm just sitting myself, like, totally. Whitney's course, Dating Done Right, has made me look back on the relationships that I had and know right away. On the first day of Dating Done Right is the day that I learned how wrong I was in those relationships, how I was wrong with picking them, how I handled the situation, staying with them. And these are good, solid people I had fun with. But having fun with, and even, we were attracted to each other, but not in the way that has ever felt really safe for me,
Relationships are always a two-way street, right? And oftentimes we want to blame the other person. And the reality is there's always something that we're doing also. So what did you figure out that you were doing in those relationships that was harmful?
I figured out that from the very, very start, I was always meeting guys and being like, okay, I could take over this operation. I can
take over this operation. I can take over this person. I can lead this. I can manage it. Because you feel safe?
I wanted the guy to take charge. I wanted him to make a plan. But I don't think I was putting that out. And I don't think that I was even caring all that much about it. And I think that I would just have a good time with them as friends. I was turning friendships into relationships because we like each other. Clearly, we're friends. People grew on me. They grew on me. After taking Whitney's course, I take the situation completely different. And if I really am honest with myself, I probably wouldn't have stayed with any of those guys for more than... and I'd probably be friends with a lot of them, too. They were probably meant to be my friends. Because there wasn't that polarity. It was like, okay, you are someone that I can really shape and mold. But that's because I don't think I was ever given a really masculine man. And now I'm not settling for anything less.
Do you think if you had met a guy who was solid in himself, grounded, confident, able to lead, not toxic masculine, but in his healthy masculine, do you think you could have handled that? Do you think it would have been scary? Like,
for your course, I was looking around for Mr. Right for 40 years now. Yeah. You would think that I have met some guys that really could have been great. So I definitely pushed them aside. For sure. Either I pushed them aside or maybe they saw in me that I wasn't in my feminine energy. And maybe I could be bad for them. And maybe they were even trying to let me know that. But it wasn't clarified to me the way it was in your course. I knew exactly the moments that, like, I want to start all over again. And I feel like there's a before your course and a real after your course. I didn't even know that they were bad decisions until your course. And that I could just walk away from a lot of people that I thought were, like, they're so sweet. Oh, he's so sweet. I think there were a lot of people looking back that probably knew you kind of need a little fire in a guy. That guy needs a little fire. You know, you're walking all over this guy. And I did. I had no idea that I was walking all over people. And a masculine guy never would have let me do that, right? They would have put me in my place. And it would have felt so good. Because now I'm totally ready to be led. Maybe I wasn't ready to be led.
Well, I think the first step of being able to be led is to know how to lead yourself. And when we have something blocking it,
when you trust yourself. I don't think I trusted myself till now.
Yeah. And when you don't trust yourself, there's always this uneasiness. And if you can't trust yourself to follow your own lead, like do the things you know you're supposed to do, but instead you're like, I know I should be doing this, but I'm going to do this instead. And I'll fix it tomorrow. Right? I know that's something you told me that you used to do a lot, was like,
tomorrow.
I'll stop the bulimic behavior tomorrow.
Yep.
I'll fix the relationship tomorrow. I'll clean my place tomorrow.
Whitney asked me at one point, why did you never, I'm just so curious, CJ, why did you never get help all these years? And I said, I was going to, just tomorrow. I was going to stop. Everything was going to stop tomorrow. So there's no point in getting help for anything. What's the point? I'm stopping tomorrow. And you said something to me that was so powerful. You said to me, that is a lot of false promises to yourself. Those were the words you used. That's a lot of false promises to yourself. And it was just like not so much a blame situation, that was really powerful to me.
And imagine if you put up with that from yourself, how much you're willing to put up with from other people too.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
If they give you false promises, if they break their promises, if they don't do what they should be doing, you're so used to it within yourself that you will put up with it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally. And I don't even know that person anymore, a person that put up with things. I don't really know her. It's weird. I've shed her.
Yeah.
She doesn't exist anymore because she was made up of a lot of elements that just aren't there anymore.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful, and I think it's so beautiful that we can sit here and laugh about this today and have such real conversations, because there were times when we would approach the difficult subjects and things would just get volatile and we would have to stop or leave the situation and I remember having very tight boundaries, like, I'm going to go meet you here and we're going to hang out in this amount of time, but I know that if we spend too much time that things will get out of hand, so I want to connect and be there, but also if you can't have the deep conversations or be authentic and honest, it's not going to go very far.
Yeah. It's so great thank you for not giving up on me.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
Oh.
important, that to keep on saying, even when I'm volatile. That's a really harsh word, and I've heard it a lot. Hi, Mom. I've definitely heard that a lot.
I was.
And when they told me that I was, they said it to me in the past. I disregard words like that so much. I just assumed everyone else was nuts. Not me. I'm not the nuts one. You are. You know?
Like, you're just being mean.
Yes. You drove me to, yes.
Right? Like the abusive husband that says, you drove me to hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you were talking about walking all over these guys.
Yes.
And, some people might not have a deep understanding of the masculine, feminine energy and just think we're talking about gender roles. So I want to clarify that this is not about gender roles and expectations. It's about the deeper energy within us, the spiritual side of us that wants fulfillment and connection, that there is a feminine side and a masculine side. And when out of survival, you step into your masculine too much, it's a coping mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. It's something that we are forced into. Most of us don't choose it. And we don't even know what we're doing and that we're doing it. But you end up pushing your partner into the feminine role when you're always like, I'll take the lead. I'll make this decision. I'll be the one to do this. We're doing what I want to do. You shut up. You sit down. You go, like, be my puppy dog almost, right? Do you feel like, would you use those words that you felt like you had a puppy dog?
Absolutely. Yes. I didn't want the puppy dog. I wanted the man. I wanted a man to really step up and do these things. And
there's so many layers, because on one layer, you wanted it. Because you wouldn't be in it if you didn't want it. But on another layer... I think
that's all I thought that I could handle in any kind of relation. I don't think I was thinking at all. Like, sometimes I have to just come up and say that. Like, what were you thinking? I don't think I was thinking. I don't know. I mean, but you're right. If I'm doing something, I must have been feeling good, and I was just kept on doing it.
And these are often, like, the conflict between the subconscious mind that's programmed, that's scared, that learned things before we had the understanding in our childhood to really understand it. So the subconscious wants familiarity. It wants same old, same old. It wants to be safe, and it's willing to do all these coping mechanisms to do it. And even though the conscious mind is like, no, I really want this, but yeah, we know this now. And so tell me how you will approach dating now that you're stepping out.
I'm totally new to the dating scene. I'm ready now. I'm just generally ready. And I'm ready to meet some guys online. And it does funnel a lot of people really fast. Okay, face tattoos, out, like the big ones. Like, I'm sorry, I use face tattoo just because it's so true. I can't imagine my mom. It's not going to happen. I'm not attracted to that. So, all right, I'm getting way off topic. Okay.
So I want you to talk about what I used to look for was someone that I could control. And now I realized that I was emasculating. And you could also, I don't know if this is true for you, this used to be true for me, like, I was just looking for someone that would accept me. Like, was there anyone out there that's gonna, like, make me feel awesome? And regardless of who he was or what the relationship was, I just wanted to feel accepted. Now, instead of just looking for someone that will accept you, which that's an important piece, but it's just not enough. Tell me about your love intention, the relationship that you want, and how you're going to go about dating differently.
Well, first off the bat, I have to just say I'm excited to do it. I'm really, really, really excited. I thought I could just go out there and start dating without this. How silly I was. How silly I was. I haven't even started and I know I was silly. I know I saved a lot of time. Your courses are an hour a week. I saved so much time doing the dates right, picking the right guys to even go on the date with. How I respond to them, the topics of conversation we bring up. You definitely have taught me so many ways to be not the way I was on a date, divulging too much information. I used to think that this is how we get to know each other. You really teach that it's not even just the information about each other, it's a dance. Yeah. It's a really lovely way of the polarity of it. Like the push and pull and the beauty of that. I just thought we agree so we can move on, like checking boxes almost. And this is so not checking boxes. It's getting to know really who I am, what my love intention is, and which my love intention, I guess, is pretty much, I think, what everyone else is. But after taking this course with Whitney, I realized we don't all have the same love intention. Mm-hmm. We don't, because there were other women in this course I was taking with Whitney, and I haven't even mentioned that, just how great it is to know other people that are in the same spot as you are at that moment, that they're just ready. I think it's very important for anyone taking your courses to be really ready for it.
Ready for what? Because I talk to people who say, I'm not ready to date. I'm not ready to go online. I'm not ready to meet my person. But that's not what you're saying, right?
Ready to be the best you that you can possibly be. Ready to make your life the best it is. Open to a new way of seeing things, open to just everything. It's not even just about relationships. Open, like, who you are and what you want to really be, and what fear is in the way of stopping you from that. And I've learned so many things that were in my way. And I'm so excited right now to go into this new world, try all these new things out. I'm so excited to be this person because it's the best version of me. I know what the best version of me is now. And so you can't go wrong. Even if I go out with a total dud, I'm still bringing my best self, and any opportunity I can get for that, it's going to be a great night. It just is.
I love that. So even if you're going out with a dud, you can still have a great time and have a great night.
I really learned a lot of that from your course. I really just looked at it as like, you go on the date, you check the no box, and you got me excited to flirt, to be in my feminine energy, to kind of just have fun and move slow. And if they're not with you on that, great. That's absolutely fine. They're probably not the one for you, but don't change who you are.
Yeah.
And just end the date, and you'll learn something from them. That was a big thing for me too. But also, I just have to say that your course was also really great because I got to meet a lot of the other women that are in the exact same place I am in life, which is I'm ready. I'm open. I'm ready for change. This is the best me. I'm ready to. It's surrender. It's surrender because I learned so much about myself that I wasn't ready to look at. I really wasn't. And I think that there's a lot of subconscious levels to that even I'm not aware of, but I definitely am a different person since your courses. I treat people differently. I show up differently. I show up in a better way. I slow down. Just your embodiments, things that we learned. I don't even want to give away to like all that she does in terms of making you feel like the woman you want to be. There's something about it that I do look back on my relationships and think, I never really wanted to bring out that sexy lingerie. And they would actually say to me, you don't do these things, be impulsive, which is kind of really who I am. But I just think that I was choosing relationships that the masculinity and the femininity weren't polar to each other. And I think that because of that, I never felt safe enough. It's so important to be able to do that. I know now I'll never be in a relationship where that lingerie doesn't come out. Not right away, but I mean, I'm just using the word lingerie. It could be something else, but the side of you that really knows the person and just really adores you.
Yeah.
I like that word, adoring, adores you. It's because I also learned in your courses that femininity, it's not about being somebody that's like, I'm so helpless. Help me. Oh my God. Open this jar for me. And just, make all my decisions. And that's just not what it is at all.
Yeah.
It's not. I feel like I've changed in a good way. And now I have the rest of my life to learn.
It's the spiral, right? It's like we know that growth is not just a straight line, but it's kind of like a spiral. We go around and we learn and we gain experience, and then we come up against the same old thing again, but we're not backtracking because you're on a higher level of understanding. So going through the program again, I've had people do that, just do the same program more than once, and they get so much out of it the second time. And I have other programs that I'm like, no, you can move on, but yeah.
Because I hadn't even thought about doing it again, because I guess we just finished this Wednesday. So the thought of doing it again, I've come this far with who I am. I'm so new in who I am that I don't realize that this new me is going to keep changing too. Like, I can't imagine, because it's like, stay here, but I'm going to change. So
yeah, I hope we never stop evolving and growing, and
which is so important even in your relationships to, from the very beginning, find someone that you can have these really healthy relationships that's going to stand the test of letting you change, which I've never been able to. I know I can now, though. I'm like totally 100% sure.
Yeah.
I know exactly what kind of person will get me in there to stick by me even when I change. It's different. I'm going out there into the world looking at men completely different.
Yeah.
Totally.
Are you finding that you have a new appreciation for men that you didn't have before?
Absolutely. I totally think I've been giving the wrong compliments too. I think I've been not appreciating them enough. I feel for men so much more now, because I think I was giving my love in a way that I would want, not realizing that it's not the same. It's not the same thing. And you have to say to the man, I really appreciated that.
You know, I realize men don't care that much about looking good. Like, that's not a deep compliment that's going to hit their heart. Like, but if he feels respected and admired for the person he is, then that feels fulfilling to a man.
I definitely learned that from you. I definitely think I'm going to be treating men extremely different now, and giving them the right compliments, and really appreciating when they do something that really put me in my feminine energy. And once I do that and I thank them for that, and they know I'm being my best me, I feel like I was in a more of a war before, and this feels more like a dance. And I do think that your course made me think of relationships more like a dance, working with what you have more than, I would feel like I was fighting it before.
We often talk about the game, the dating game, and the players and the game. But it doesn't have to be a game. You know, people ask the wrong question. Should I hate the player or hate the game? Neither. You should learn how to do the dance and then step into the dance with eager, happy enthusiasm, and then be responsive to your partner and work together with your partner and allow for sometimes there to be a leader and a follower. And just because we're following doesn't mean we're incompetent. It just means that we are making a conscious, powerful decision to work together as a team and not be butting heads and fighting over who's right and who's going to be able to take the lead. It's like, no, babe, you got this and I got you, and we're in this together.
Even just sitting here right now, I still have that little doubt that I'll find someone that I could respect enough for me to be able to let go. And I'm ready for that, really ready for someone to make me kind of let go a little. I'm not being led with fear. I'm completely being led with love. Totally.
And it's our presence of mind that helps us to trust someone, because we can't just automatically give all our trust and completely follow someone, right? It's like on a first date, you might not have someone pick you up at your house because you don't even know them yet. You don't want them to have your address. You need to know their last name. But trust gets built when you let them know what you need and then see them do it. And it builds. It builds through their actions, through their follow through and follow up. And if they say they're going to do something, do they do it? And that's how we build that trust, because you can't follow someone that you don't trust. They could lead you off a cliff. So it's this dance of, I'm going to give you a little bit of trust, but I'm going to be still independent because we're not in a relationship yet, and I'm still dating and all of that, but letting them know what you want and then giving them the chance to do that. Because I think so many of us focus on what they're doing wrong, and we just say like, this isn't right and I'm so upset, and we think that that's communicating, but all you're doing is complaining and nagging if you're not clearly stating what you want, what you desire, what you need, how you feel, and setting boundaries.
It's funny that you're talking about that. That was the first week of your program. We learned to set a love intention. And it really does feel like a long time ago for me. Like, it really feels like ages ago. And I did have this moment then that was like, everybody has the same love intention. Why am I, duh. And I was wrong. There were women in this group that had extremely different needs that I did. And I just assumed, really, that all girls have the same needs. And it's just not true.
And we need to clarify, if a guy doesn't open a door for you, it doesn't mean he's a terrible person that has no chivalry. It might mean that the last girl that he took out said, I can open my own door, thank you very much. So you just have to let guys know what you want, and then either they can do it or they can't. But either way, you have the information and you can make a decision.
Yeah, also, I remember you saying that you can't make a man be a certain way, but you can just say what you need. And if they can do it, they can. And if they can't, an unbelievable opportunity that I can have to practice my flirting skills, but goodbye. The more specific it is, the better. I have no fear that guys are going to be like, that's what you need, bye. Like, I feel very much that even if they're not that person that second, I want a man that wants to get there and become that. And I'm not asking for something that's bad. I want to feel protected. I'm not sure if I want a family. I want a guy to be silly with, and that makes me feel that the silliest version of me is completely adorable, and that supports me and guides me. But
there's another piece to it, because relationships are always a two-way street. So when you're talking to a guy about what you want and what you need, you can talk about what you're willing to give. I want a guy that I can show my appreciation for. I want
That's right, clever. That was clever.
You know, I want someone I can respect. Like, guys love to hear that.
I love that line, because it's like you're putting it on you, but you're really putting it on them. Or I like that. I want a guy who I can give compliments to, that I want to respect.
Yeah. That when I walk in front of him, he wants to, touch my shoulder or smack my ass or. There's a lot of guys that they want that. They want a girlfriend, a wife who's going to play with them and be fun. And too many times women just shut down in relationships and they're not fun anymore. And they're either cranky and combative or shut down and unavailable. And so, there's so much opportunity for growth in our relationships. That is what has astounded me throughout this journey. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Love Coach in My Pocket, where we talk about love, dating, relationships, healing, and all sorts of topics related to these. Don't forget also to download the Love Coach in My Pocket app from the App Store for tons of free resources to support you on your journey.